All right, so let's go ahead and look at Rocky Marciano. Let's rate Rocky. So he's a heavyweight. Marciano's skill. So we want to come over here. What is his skill? It's his total bouts, his total wins, subtracting losses and draws. He has none, so 49. Rocky Marciano, 46 or more, would be a 5-skill fighter. Quality, win percentage, he's a 100% winner, so he's an A. Knockout rate, let's see what it says. Boxing record, you can see how quick this can go. 87, we round down, 87%. His boxing KO rate, 87, he's a 2. He was a, and his limit is his rounds divided by his, so 241 divided by 49 bouts is, 241 divided by 49. He averaged 5. We round down to 4. He's going to have a 5 limit. And his bouts, we know, 49. There's Rocky Marciano, heavyweight, possibly the greatest heavyweight in history. I say he is, but that's me. But there he is, 5'8", 549. This is using the actual rating paradigm for real boxers. Now, let's pull up Boxing Time Bouts 6. Here it is. Let's see what he's rated in the book. Remember, I said I did some subtle nuances to tweaking the ratings. Let's see what I rated Marciano in the book. Again, I use these as guidelines. I used this as guidelines in the playtesting, but I then tweaked them based on opinion, subjectivity. But let's go ahead and see, what did I rate Marciano? Did I even put Marciano in here? I don't know if I did. I did not put Marciano in here. No, I didn't. And that's probably because, I've said it before, I rarely put him on my table because he went undefeated. And so the minute he starts losing bouts, I start losing interest. So he's not. There's Ali, though. Joe Louis. So we'd have to rate. I was curious to see the subtle nuances for how I rated him, but it turns out I did not put Marciano in here. So let's go ahead and do Larry Holmes, who's my favorite heavyweight of my youth. I grew up watching Holmes and Hagler. Let's do Larry Holmes, heavyweight. Skill, quality, KO, limit, bouts. Okay, so let's do skill. All right, so Larry Holmes. Let's go back over here to boxing record. Let's put Larry Holmes in here. And get out of the way, these damn ads. I'm not certain why. Why is it giving me these? That's just not right. It's not the right Larry Holmes. It's not giving me his. It's not allowing me to pull up his. I don't know why that is. Oh, here it is. No. This has got to be Larry Holmes. There he is. Jiminy Christmas. All right. Skill. Again, his skill is 63. So let's go in here to the Boxing Time. Skill 63. He's going to be a 5. Quality is his win percentage. His win percentage is 69 divided by 75 is 92. He's an A. His KO rate is 63. Remember, we round down. KO rate is 63. He's going to be a 4. And his limit is going to be 579 divided by 75. He had 7 again. We round down 7. He's going to have a limit of 8. Same as Muhammad. And then bouts. We know he fought 75 career bouts. So there's Larry Holmes. All right. So Marciano, who's a heavyweight champ, undefeated, 5A, and Holmes, who's a heavyweight champ, damn good for his era, 5A. That's not, much of an argument. I think both of these are accurate. KO, of course, Marciano flat out dropped his opponents. Larry Holmes, not so much. Limit, because Marciano had so many fights end early, his limit, we don't know, that he might have suffered more cuts, might have suffered more KOs, etc. But 5, that makes, I completely agree with this. And I agree with this for Larry Holmes. And then, of course, Bouts is completely objective, as this is how many fights they had. Right, so there you have it. So there's by the way, so let's look at the book. What did I rate Larry Holmes? So in the book, I had him at a 5, but subtle nuance, I made him a B quality. 4, KO, got that, and 10, so I actually had Larry Holmes the highest rating there. And then, of course, these are playtest numbers. So these numbers were modified based on a playtest idea I had. Some of them were fought, some of them I gave them more than they should have had, some less. But Holmes, this is probably numbers I was toying with for the career mode. Right. I did not fight him in 20-something fights. Playtest. There was a career mode test of what longevity would mean. Because of the heavyweight, when you hold the belt, you don't count bouts against your boxers. Right. So these were some playtest numbers, or not playtest. This from my playtest. These are the numbers that were used for the game. But if you create historical boxers, you're going to want to give them the number of bouts they had in real life, right, before they retire. Yeah. So you could modify this by how long they held the title. For instance, Rocky Marciano only defended his title 6 times. So you could modify that he actually should have 43 career bouts, because we don't count his. Or I could add 6 to that. So he had 49, plus he defended the title 6 times. He would have 55 career bouts, right? But I think you should just leave this for their whole career, right? So anyway, on Sugar Ray, I had, by the way, read the wrong line. Sugar Ray should be a 3 KO, not a 4 KO. And there we go. It turns out Larry Holmes, based on the same paradigm I used with subtle tweaks, I just made Larry Holmes a B. And again, remember I said I weighted him against many of the guys they would be fighting in their own in the book. So for instance, I didn't think Larry Holmes should be as high as Muhammad Ali, right? If that makes sense. So I probably tweaked Holmes in here with Ali. However, Holmes defeated Ali in real life, but Ali was past his prime. Where's the other one? I just saw another one I thought would be fun. Oh, Tunney. So let's do Gene Tunney. I mean, these numbers should be pretty close because, again, I used this paradigm as my base when I created these fighters. For those who remember, the original version of the game did not have a skill rating, so skill wasn't even in the original release of the game. All right, so let's go over here and do Gene Tunney. Schenectady. Where's Gene Tunney? Oh, man. You know what? I'm not certain. There he is. 20s, right? He fought in the 20s? My mind now is taking a blank. I think this is the right guy. Yeah, this is the right guy, Gene Tunney. Okay, Gene Tunney. Wow, 65. So his skill, again, what you're going to see with great guys in their career, there's going to be a lot of A's. Quality win percentage. Whoops, excuse me. He's a 5. His KO, though, KO rate 73. KO rate is 73 is going to put him at 3. His limit is 426 minus, 426 divided by 68. Interesting. I got 65, 67, 60, 67. He must have had a DQ or something. His limit is 6, so we round down. So 7 would be his TKO limit, and his bouts says 68. And there's Tunney. Now let's look in the book and see what I rated Tunney. Is he in the book? Yes, he is. So I had him at 5-5. I had him at B. Again, I weighted him based on Ali. So again, not fair. But if you use non-subjective allowance here, he would be equal to Ali 5A. His knockout 3. Again, you can see it still comes off this paradigm. I had him at 10 when he should be 7. And then 37 for Bouts. Remember, this was going to be this was a playtest number that was based on this being a career-based game. But obviously, in reality, he would have 68 bouts before his career would come to an end. So again, not a big difference. Clearly, I put Tunney at B along with Holmes because I weighted him based on Ali. That's what happened there. So if you use the straight up guide without any objectivity, you're going to get a pretty interesting, and you're going to see a lot of guys who were heavyweight champs are going to do well. And guys who had a ton of fights are going to probably have a high skill, even if they weren't arguably, again, I've said before, the reason for that, the absolute reason for that would be the more fights you have in your career, clearly the more skilled you are just based on experience, so to speak. But skill really is about determining activity during a round. So this is probably, I should probably base their skill. Again, this was the original playtest creation docs for historical fighters as a range. Probably should have, instead of wins, subtracting losses and draws for their skill rate, I should probably have rounds divided by wins, right? So let's say for, oh God, I can't remember the rounds now. Or bouts. It could be bouts divided by wins. Something like that would give us a skill rating, maybe. But I like this because this will account for guys that went 21-0 and their careers came to an end, or they quit, or they were killed. We just don't know once they started fighting the better fighters for a long-term career, if their skill would have shaken out. However, obviously, the longer your career goes, the better chance you're going to have a 5 skill. So that's the one thing that's probably you could probably subjectively tweak this. However, I would say all 3 of these guys should have 5 skill, right? Sugar Ray comes out of 3 because he had only fought 40 bouts, and he had 4 non-wins. So I'm not against this either. Sugar Ray's still an A3, so he's still capable of being a formidable opponent. And Manny, a lot more fights, a lot higher winning percentage. Not a lot higher winning percentage, a lot more fights. So anyway, that's that. Everybody out there have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye.